everyone, and welcome to this week's video. Since last week, a little special challenge started, and that is Mermay. The month of Mermay is upon us, and since I have done this every single year since doing this channel, this will officially be my 5th year. This will be my 4th year working in toned paper, but this is my 5th year working on Mermay. Each year I've tried something different, used new equipment, used lots of different things that I would not normally do, and it has always been a really fun challenge. The sketchbook I'm using here is just a simple hobbycraft scrapbook. It works really well with markers, and the toned paper is just absolutely lovely to work on. So I've already done 6 illustrations and we are about to work on day 7, and I'm not working on a prompt list this year, if I'm honest. I'm kind of just working with what I fancy on each day and taking suggestions for what kind of mermaids people would like to see. I've been taking suggestions both from Discord, Twitter and Instagram, and I've also been using a series of different materials including alcohol markers, polychromos, using coloured pencils, and of course using my Posca or my non-Posca acrylic paint markers. So just the whole idea is just me trying out lots of different techniques, trying out things that I would not normally do, and that's the way I kind of treat Mermay. It is a daily drawing challenge, but one thing that we tend to work up ourselves upon when it comes to daily drawing challenges or monthly drawing challenges is, oh gosh, this piece isn't perfect, or there's people out there doing amazing work and mine doesn't seem to. And if I'm honest, some of these I'm really not happy with. I like some of the pieces that I've done so far, and in particular today's piece. In the end of it, I liked the concept but was not happy with the execution, and this is just all about experimentation with different mediums. The whole idea with monthly challenges is for you to do something that you would not normally do to challenge yourself. Even if that means like instead of drawing daily, you do maybe a drawing a week. The whole idea is to challenge yourself and have fun doing it, and that's all that matters. It's about participating and learning a new skill that you would not normally do. Now maybe you don't want to do mermaids, that's absolutely fair. There is a mythological May as well, and I know Junicorn and Jitterbug June is next month, so I may be participating in that. I haven't decided yet, but anyway, let's go on with today's piece. So today's piece, I was really inspired to do a Selkie. Now Selkie comes from different types of folklore and mythological, but in particular Selkie is based in Scottish mythology. Selkie folk, meaning seal folk, are mythological beings capable of changing from seal to human form by shedding their skin. They're also found in folk tales and mythology. I cannot speak today. Originating from the Northern Isles of Scotland. There's also Selkie tales that are in Ireland, Norwegian. There's lots of different sort of fairy tales that have these sort of like seal folk that shed their skin to become human. And the common folklore was that men married these Selkies by stealing their skin. It's a very common folklore that I remember reading up when I was a kid, because I was obsessed with like folk tales, and that it was something that I'd always loved the idea of. And it's also originates from the fact that seals and manatees originally were mistaken for mermaids, and there's lots of history behind this, and it's absolutely fascinating to me. But I was also massively inspired by one of my all-time animation favourites, Song of the Sea. I absolutely adore this film. If you have not seen it, it is one of the most beautiful animated films that is out there. The studio that work on it have also worked on Secret of Kells, Breadwinner, gosh, there's so many that they've worked on, and they are just such a fantastic studio that I take my hats off to them, because I love their work and what they do. It's all very it's all to do with like the animation style that they have. It all looks like a children's storybook, and I just love that. It's so inspiring to watch. Highly recommend them. But anyway, so I was sort of inspired by Song of the Sea, as well as this sort of, I wanted this ethereal moment captured between like say a sailor and a Selkie, as she sort of is like halfway taking off the skin to reveal herself as a human woman. I try to capture that sort of mood and feeling. There's parts of this which I think are executed really nicely, and then there's other parts which I think I probably overdid it. Sometimes you can't tell whether or not you've overdone an illustration until you take a step back after you've done it and go, okay, no, I can see where I went wrong. This just happens sometimes when it comes to working with stuff. I think the thing I'm most proud of probably is that night sky, especially when I continue working on it later on, adding texture on top with pencils. I just think it looks absolutely lovely, and I've fallen in love with it so much. But no, Selkies are such a fascinating mythology, and I highly recommend anyone to check it out. It's one of the more interesting mermaid folktales. But I thought it would just be really, really fun to do something sort of inspired by that and try up from there. With this whole challenge, the whole idea that I've been trying to do is just trying to work with mediums that I would not normally work with. Each year that I've done Mermay, and each year there has been a Mermay sketchbook tour up on this channel. I'll leave a link to my Mermay playlists so that you can check all of those videos out. But nevertheless, I have done Mermay now for 5 years in a row, and each year I have learned so much. And the last 4 years I've decided to work on toned paper, and this is because I don't normally work on toned paper, and it gives a different sort of atmosphere and a different sort of texture to work on. Now with these scrapbooks, they are quite thick. You can use a little bit of watercolour on them. They will buckle slightly because it's not quite built for watercolour, but the paper is so textured that it's just so different to work with. There's a technique that I've been trying where I've been putting down the marker first. So the alcohol marker goes down first. And when you put the alcohol marker down, because it is toned paper, it isn't as vibrant as it normally would be. So it gives this sort of dull effect to it. So then after that, I've been building on top with using like acrylic paint markers, and also using maybe a mixture of paint or coloured pencils. So I use the alcohol marker as the base and then build up from there, simply because it's just the alcohol marker can cover a large area, whereas the acrylic paint markers I've got are quite thin, so they can't cover a large area. And if I wanted to have that dull effect with the colours, it really works really nicely. And I recommend anyone at any point to work on toned paper because it forces you to think differently. Now normally what I would do is I would leave the skin as the paper, because the paper has this beautiful textured tone to it and is such like a nice pale brown. It works really well for skin tones, and I should have left the skin tone with this and built up a little bit with brown areas just to deepen the shadows. Unfortunately I didn't do that with this piece, but in other pieces I have, and it's worked really effectively and it looks really, really nice. It forces you to think outside of the box because the equipment that you would normally use unfortunately just doesn't work. Watercolors, they act differently on this paper. Gouache is really bright, really vibrant, and alcohol markers, they dull, but acrylic markers, they shine. And it's just about balancing the act between them all, and it has been an awful lot of fun. Previous years I've used some similar techniques, but this year is the year that I've really focused on using these acrylic markers a lot more and trying out different techniques with them. I think I prefer acrylic paint markers such as Posca or any other branded ones on toned paper. I just think it looks so much nicer and so much better. Plus, because the toned paper has sort of a tooth to it, it just behaves really nicely with the markers. Maybe some people have had some different experiences, but I have absolutely enjoyed using these so much. So this is the part where I kind of realised that maybe I'd overdone her skin area, in particular because I decided to turn her all grey, because at that time the brown skin just was not working for me with this sort of idea. I sort of imagine Selkies to sort of look alien-like with large black irises, like seal's eyes, and like I can imagine their skin like has a greyish tone to it. But I don't think I did that very effectively. Also, she's a different type of seal in comparison to these ones. These ones are common seals that we have here in the UK, and she's a very fluffy seal, which either indicates that she's a baby or that she's an Arctic seal. Maybe she travelled too far from home. I don't know. Maybe we've got a story here. But I like this sort of idea of having like this really fluffy seal coat. I don't know. I think that's really interesting to me. Seals tend to have quite fine hair in comparison. So I don't know. There's parts of this that I do like and there's parts of this I don't like. But that's the whole point of illustration. And that's the whole point of every time we draw and every time we're trying new things, that we're learning and adapting and trying out techniques that we would not normally do. It's very interesting to try out different things, and this is the one thing that I'm going to reiterate. Lots of people struggle with monthly challenges, and it's because sometimes drawing every single day can be overwhelming and you can experience burnout from it. Personally, I draw every single day anyway, as a part of my job, working full-time as an illustrator, and on top of the fact that there's always consistently work being done, whether or not it's to do with painting, inking, or working with new merchandise, working with new products. I'm always drawing anyway, so this is just, when I'm trying this, I'm trying out equipment that I would not normally use. Now, I have seen some people do like really tiny mermaids, which has been really cute. An artist who I'm friends with is doing teacup mermaids, and they are so cute and they are so small, and it's just perfect. It's such a fantastic idea, because if you can't do a big illustration, sometimes maybe do a small illustration, or instead of concentrating on say a piece every single day, maybe concentrate on a piece for the month or a piece every week. The whole idea, and I'm going to keep saying this as a reiteration several times, the whole idea with monthly challenges is that you are pushing yourself out of the norm and trying stuff that you would not normally do. And I think that is so important as illustrators, to consistently challenge ourselves with stuff that we would not normally do. Especially with this, like, I don't particularly, I'm not very happy with the execution of this, but will I possibly redraw this in the future and try out different techniques? Absolutely. It's been an awful lot of fun. So here's a look at the finalized illustration. As I said, I'm not 100% happy with it. I like the idea, just not the execution, but that is absolutely fine. It was fun to try out, and it was good to try out different techniques and do different things. I've really enjoyed Mermay so far, and there will be a sketchbook look through at the end of the month, which I'm really excited to properly show you guys everything properly. That said properly a lot there. But I really hope you have enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see what you guys do for Mermay. Tag me, show me. I want to see what amazing work you've been doing. I know on the Discord we've been sharing our ideas, and it's so much fun. Here is a few features of art that you guys have tagged me in. I absolutely adore your work. Please keep it up, and love what you do and drawing. You're all so inspiring, and it's so exciting to see what work you create. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Keep drawing, and as always folks, stay creative.